It's 2025 and it's a whole new season of life. And my focus for this year is to celebrate, adjust, and plan and live in the moment God has called me to, and not having a foot in the past or a foot in the future. We're not going to stress about what hasn't happened yet or what is coming up down the line, and we're not going to spend all of our time wishing that they were little again or being sad about what we don't have. We're going to be thankful in the moment. And today I'm going to share with you guys a few of the goals that we have set up as a family to meet the needs of our current season and to be able to embrace those instead of mourning or living in anxiety. So let's get started. The first area, of course, is our homeschool that we're going to be focusing on. In our homeschool, we have a lot of new things happening. I have several kids that are going to be in high school. Actually, 3 of my 6 kids will be in high school. 4 of my 6 kids will be teens this year. We're adding a 4th to the mix. And my 2 youngest, they'll be 7 and 8 in 2025, will actually be moving to more independence in their homeschool. So this means we need a lot of adjustment. One goal that we have is working on independence more and coming alongside our kids with that. Independence is not something that your kids just grow into one day and then you just let go. It's very much something that is taught and guided through a process, and that is something that we're going to be focusing on heavily this year. My 2 youngest are actually taught by my friend Wendy over at Plan Prep Pray. This video is actually done in collaboration with her, so once you're done checking out this video, be sure to check out the playlist down below and hear from all the other amazing homeschool moms talking about their goals. But she teaches my 2 youngest and has been doing most of the teaching for them over the past 2 years. However, this year, because of the program that they use, Christian Light Education, they are going to become more and more independent. This means that they will still be going to Wendy's house to be taught, but they'll have just about an hour of instruction 4 days a week, and then the rest of it will be here at home. This shifts and adjusts our goals and our expectations for them a little bit because they are going to need more from me as they learn this independence. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but if you want to build healthy habits for your kids and making sure that they learn independent things well, you want to make sure that you're inspecting what you're expecting and those kinds of things. So we're going to be making that a high priority for this year. There's also going to be training in independence with my teens as well. They're talking about wanting to get summer jobs. Many of them are either have their permits or getting ready to get their permits. So there's going to be a lot more kind of expectations that they have, a lot more outside commitments. So I'm going to be focusing heavily on working with them to make sure that they are managing their time well, that they are managing their schoolwork well, that there are consequences when that's not happening, but there's plenty of guidance and help to get them set up for success. Another thing in our homeschool is that after doing this for over a decade, sometimes things can get a little stale, or it can be a little bit like we're just going through the motions in our homeschool. And so this year, I really want to focus on embracing the season we're in and enjoying that and being able to make the most of that. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is attending the Refresh Homeschool Conference here in February. On February 8th, there's going to be an online conference that is all about refreshing your homeschool. And I'm really, really excited about that. I'm going to be doing a session within that conference, but there are tons of different speakers that are going to be sharing their expertise and being able to learn from moms who have gone before me, who have been where I've been, and teaching me how to embrace these seasons that are brand new to me is something I'm really excited about. If you guys want to join that conference, it's online, so you can join from anywhere in the world, and I will leave a link down in the description below. But that is something that we are prioritizing this year, is really, really hearing from others and learning from them about how we can enjoy the season more and what we can do to sort of prepare for what's coming ahead. Another priority in our homeschool is going to be being better about intentional check-ins. So with my oldest 3 kids, I shoot to have an intentional school check-in with them once a week, to sit down, to go over their curriculum, to see what questions they have, to have that accountability. It's not that I'm not helping them outside of that one time a week, but it's just like a really dedicated focus time to work with them. And I feel like I have really slacked. In the past 6 months, it has been kind of hit and miss. It's been every other week at best, sometimes every 3 weeks, and that's just unacceptable. This is my job as a parent. I need to prioritize this. I need to put it on my calendar and treat it like an appointment. So one of my goals this year is to treat it like an appointment, put it on my calendar, and make sure that I'm having that dedicated time. If something comes up, okay, but then I need to put it on another spot the very next day and prioritize it as if it is something that cannot be changed, just like I would with a doctor's appointment or other things in my life. We are going to have more emphasis in 2025 on discipleship. Now, discipleship is something we do with our kids, teaching them about God, about character, about who He created them to be, and all of those things. This is something we do from birth. But this year, we're going to be focusing on this and having a little more dedicated time on this with my older kids to dive into a little bit headier topics. Now, these conversations happen all year round, all day long. But having some dedicated time to go into this stuff a little bit further, to do some book studies with them, Bible studies with them, to be able to pray with them one-on-one is really, really important. So especially as they are getting older and we only have a few more years left, we want to make sure we're carving out that time. We also have some curriculum changes that are coming to our homeschool, so stay tuned and subscribe because I'm going to be sharing a video about that very soon. The second thing that we are doing to kind of embrace the season we are in is changing up how we do hospitality. Now that might sound kind of funny to you. Hospitality, maybe not one of the main areas you were thinking about in your home. But for us and our family, it has always been a huge priority to open our home and to be able to welcome people in. In fact, when we bought this house about 7 years ago, one of the things we were praying for is that God would give us a house where we could open our home on a regular basis. And we dedicated this house to being used for hospitality. So it's always been a high priority. And it's been something we've continued to do despite the hard seasons that we have lived in and through over the past couple of years. But last year was definitely one of our worst seasons when it came to hospitality. My daughter had some major medical scares and health issues that came up. My husband was doing college classes and the classes were just getting more and more intense. Our church ended up moving buildings and my husband was very instrumental and our whole family was very big in helping and moving all of the things over and fixing things. We've had all sorts of house projects that have come up, but none of that is an excuse. Now, that's not to say that I'm here to shame anyone else or to kind of put all of this on you, but I do want to say for our family, this is a priority. This is something we promised to God, and this is something that we really want to carve out the time for. So while we did open our home in 2024, we really want to make it a bigger priority in 2025. And so we're doing that in 2 ways. One, we are putting it on the calendar. So we set aside 1 day a month. We look at the beginning of the month. We pick one day that we know would be a good day for us to have them over. We look at my husband's school schedules, make sure it's not right before a test, and those kinds of things. But we go ahead and pick a day, and then we pick someone to invite over. This has been really helpful to just kind of have it set there, and it's an expectation at that point. And it has encouraged us to be able to make sure that this still happens while also respecting the season that we're in and understanding that there are things like tests or home remodels or other things that need to happen. The second thing we're doing when it comes to this is we're really trying to prioritize those relationships with our kids' friends. Now, we know all of our kids' friends, we know their parents, a lot of them we go to church with or we do co-op with or other things. But as they get older, we want their friends and them to know that our home is a safe space, that this is a place where they can come, they can hang out, they can cry, they can laugh, they can come and talk to us. We want to be able to nurture and disciple our children, but also to nurture and disciple their friends as well. So we have started doing a 1 night a month hangout for teens in our area. This is for kids in our church. This is from other churches, from co-op, friends, from just anywhere that we open up our homes. So sometimes we can have, 5 or 6 teens, and other times we can have 20 plus teens in our home on a particular evening. We feed them. We sometimes watch a movie and have a discussion around it. Sometimes we'll do games, lots of different things that we can do just to kind of build a relationship with them and to open our home. So those are 2 big things we're doing to increase our hospitality and be more intentional about this promise that we made. The third thing we're doing is we are adjusting our home to meet our current season. Some of this was forced and some of this was a choice. By forced, I mean that we had a pipe burst in our kitchen and it completely ruined our kitchen and we had to gut the entire thing. But this kind of drew to light that our kitchen was designed for 4 people, not the 8 that live here. And as we've kind of gone through this remodel process and been working on remodeling the kitchen and figuring out what works and what doesn't work, it shined a light on other areas in our home that may be working or not working for our current season. And what are some adjustments or changes we can do? Not complete remodels, because nobody wants that, but being able to take small adjustments or changes to make our spaces fit our home better. So we're remodeling our kitchen. It's fun, but it's also challenging. We also this summer went to work on remodel, I use that lightly, but reworking our basement to fit the season we're in. And in the past has been more for toys or set up for little kids. And now that we have more teens and older kids, we want to kind of shift and adjust the way that works. We've also made some changes when it comes to bedrooms. In 2025, with focusing on kind of embracing the moment, we have been working on switching over bedrooms in our home. We have 2 boys and we have 4 girls. And the 4 girls have shared rooms before, but it's always been the 2 older girls and the 2 younger girls. And then more recently, there was 4 girls all sharing a room because they wanted to have a separate room for toys and then one that was just sort of like their bedroom just for sleeping. The thing is, as we shift and adjust in our seasons, we realize that they have less and less toys that they actually play with, and the things they do are smaller and don't really need a whole dedicated room. So we've been working on and are continuing to work on in 2025, clearing out everything out of that old playroom and being able to set up 2 bedrooms so the girls can be 2 in each room. The big adjustment with this is that instead of having the 2 older ones share a room and the 2 younger ones share a room, we're having the oldest of each pair together and the youngest of each pair together. This actually works out really well because they have similar personalities and even kind of cleanliness standards and decor standards and whatnot. And so my 2 youngest from each pair are sharing a room and they both have ADHD. So we've made some changes to make their bedroom more ADHD friendly. There's less physical items in the room. There's not all the cute tchotchkes and fancy decor that the older pair has in their room because that is actually visually overwhelming to them and just seen as clutter for them. We have done fun things and are currently working on doing fun things like putting a sensory swing in their room. They have one of their swivel boards they got from Outtree that is in their room. So we're doing things like that to just kind of modify it and make it work for them and where they are at. And they have been so thankful for it. They still have toys, they still have things, but they're not stored in their room, and that has helped them a lot in being able to actually manage the space they're in. The last thing that we're working on when it comes to making our home fit is just a lot of decluttering. I know that's cliche because everybody's decluttering this time of year, but really going through and taking a hard look at what do we have, what do we need, and letting go of those things that we don't need anymore. This has been really hard but helpful for me as I've gone through a bunch of our books and I've been able to pull out almost all, not quite all, but almost all of our like baby books and even early beginner reader books, as most of my kids are reading far beyond that point. We save a few for when we have guests over in our home, or of course maybe a few favorites that I'd love to keep for grandkids one day, but other than that, we're passing those on and letting those be a blessing to someone else. We've also been going through and getting rid of a lot of clothes that don't fit, kitchen things that we've had since we got married 17 years ago, and saying, you know what? This served a purpose for a time, but it's not quite big enough for our current family, or it's not quite working well enough. Let's bless somebody else with it who could use it and needs it, and instead get something that maybe fits better for our current season. That's kind of what we've been working on in our home, in our homeschool, and with our hospitality, and being able to make it meet our current season. What are you currently working on in 2025? And be sure to check out this video here for the playlist of all the other moms sharing about their goals for this new year.